together. Which, I mean, it's a long road. I guess it was for the better.
Okay. Were there any other coping mechanisms that you used? I know some of the favorite that are put out there. Sometimes you can find them on the internet. Spending time with friends, going to the gym. Just basic things to um, practice self-care. Were there any other methods of self-care that you used for that?
I mean, I wouldn't call vodka self-care, but
It can be. It can be.
I think just trying to stay positive and keep a positive mind frame, and just staying just staying grounded and just staying focused on what I wanted to accomplish, and not getting distracted by like feeling maybe down or alone, or afraid about the future. I just did what I would have done if I was in a relationship.
Very good. Very good. Well, for myself, I have had this actually happened to me twice. Happened to me twice. A goal of mine that was completely destroyed as a result of falling in love. Um, my one of my major dreams in life was always to be married and to have a family. And the first time I was married for 11 years, and my husband passed away in a really tragic, unresolved um, manner, I guess you could say. And it took me. It's still really troubling and traumatic because we don't know what happened or why it happened or how it happened. Um, and then the second time I was engaged, and then that relationship ended. And the way I coped with those. I would say in some ways in similar ways, but in other ways in different ways. I I slept a lot through some of it. Um, I spent a lot of time with family members that I could trust. I talked a lot with friends. Um, yeah, I did. I tried to stay around people who were going to encourage me and not bring me down. So that's what I did. Okay, Tawanda.
Yes, ma'am.
Has a goal of yours ever been completely destroyed as the result of falling in love or ending a relationship?
That is a really great question. I would have to say not necessarily a goal of mine, but like I've been in a relationship and there's something that we plan to do together, and that was completely destroyed. It wasn't
Mhm.
my initial goal, but it was something that I was looking forward to.
Mhm. And what did you do to come back from that? Did you give up the dream? Did you do something else? What did you do?
Well, that dream was our dream together. So yeah, I let it go.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I wanted it, but it was something that we actually planned to do together. So yeah, I let it go.
Mhm. Okay. So we're going to take a quick break for a minute, and then when we come back from the break, we're going to go on to the next question.
2020 has brought many changes, the most visual of which has been the face mask. With the arrival of face masks, new makeup trends and skincare routines have appeared as a result. 1. Gentle cleansing solutions to cleanse bacteria trapped underneath the mask against your skin. 2. Barrier creams to protect against the friction of the mask. 3. Pimple patches for skin irritations caused by mask friction. And 4. No makeup on any areas underneath the mask. This has been Kay with your trending news. Now, back to your scheduled program.
Okay. So we're back, and now I want you guys to think about this. After these things happened in these relationships, did you ever think about what you would do in the future if a similar situation were to happen again? See, you go first.
I think that I would just stay focused on what I have to do, and I probably would not sacrifice um, or sacrifice or maybe alter my life so much that it would hinder me until maybe further down the road.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Tawanda?
That is a good question. I really want to ditto what C said. Maybe later down the road, but right now I'm not sure. Possible in the future.
Hmm. So here's a good question. Do you think that women or people in general, I'll just say people in general, do you think that we become uh, more wary or less likely to want to fall in love when we experience really bad endings to relationships? See, you go first.
I would. Oh, I'm sorry. You said C. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you can go ahead, Tawanda. Oh no, I was saying you can go ahead.
She's trying to throw me under the bus to go first. She said it twice. That is a great question, and I think that I would say yes and no. I know some people that's been married 4 or 5 times, like they just go with the flow. For me, I'm more old fashioned, and I was thinking about this today. I still have, and even though I'm like super like spontaneous and adventurous and all that, but when it comes to like serious relationships and love and marriage, that's a whole other story. And I believe that people don't have the values that they used to have a very long time ago. We can look at the world until they don't. I know people that has been married 5, 10 years, and they get divorced in 6 months. They on to the next one, and to each his own. So I'm not discriminating against anyone. I'm just saying, for me, of course, I would be weary. We live in a day and time where you can know someone your whole life and don't know them. People are lie, people are kind, people are just not really trustworthy, and it's scary and it's crazy. So yeah, I'm super cautious with meeting people and with building real relationships. And then the other thing, Kay, so many relationships are business. You know, like let's say, for example, if I meet a guy or you meet a guy, people are looking at, okay, what are you bringing to the relationship? How much money do you have? Are we going to get a prenup? I mean, there's so many different things you have to deal with. Where do you really have time for the love? So, yeah, I would say that I think people are weary, and there's so many different elements to relationships these days. So, yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. No, I agree. I think that some people, they can just go with the flow, and they're just like, well, 5th time a charm and 6 times a charm. And then there's other people, because I feel like dating now in 2020 is way different than dating maybe in 1990. So in a culture where we're like swipe left and swipe right, it is kind of hard to like feel like you'll find something genuine. So which may make people a little discouraged to date nowadays, especially after you experience a heartache, because you may say, hey, all guys are liars, all guys cheat, all guys whatever. But I guess it's just easier said than done. But just to try to have a optimistic way of looking and approach each new situation with bright eyes and a clean slate.
That's a good thought. So then the question now is this. I want you two to think of a relationship that you won't like it, but was particularly painful, that ended in a particularly painful way. Does the thought of that relationship still affect you? Does the thought of that relationship affect your performance at work or in education or any of your goals? Does it affect your performance in any way? Corinne, you go first.
Of course, when you fell out of marriage, it can affect you in a negative type of way. However, I don't let it get to me. I feel like it takes two. So you can't put all the blame on yourself, and you can just take accountability for your actions and just use whatever thing that you did in that relationship that may have not been the most flattering or the most becoming, and just, improve relationships.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Here's a question before we go on to Tawanda. Did you ever, I know on the internet, when you end a relationship, there's a tip it's called, what is it, the 30 days of no contact. Have you guys ever heard of that?
Yeah, I think I heard something similar to that.
Okay. Have you guys ever implemented that? And what do you think about that technique? Does it work? Does it help?
I mean, me personally, like, if I'm done with you, then I have no problem with 30 days of no contact. Let's shoot for 300 days of no contact.
Like sayonara. Okay. Tawanda?
Are you asking the question you just asked, or the one before that Corinne answered?
No, the one before that. Does the thought of a particular relationship still affect you? Does it still affect your performance?
Affect my performance? No. Affect me indirectly, maybe a little. There was a period of time to where it took a long time to heal and to get over it. I would think about it and get angry and feel some type of way. Then sometimes it would be a matter of like hurt, and it was crazy. And time does heal some wounds. And like now, thinking about 4 or 5 years later, I feel better. I learned a lot, and I've healed so much. So, no, it doesn't affect my performance, and I'm not bitter, and I'm not angry. Now I can talk about it. Now I can say I learned so much from it, and so on and so forth. And the second question you asked, no, I've never heard of the 30-day no contact, but I think that could definitely be a good thing because sometimes you need distance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so since you've never heard about it, we'll talk about it just for a second. So the 30-day of no contact is when you end a relationship or someone ends the relationship. We'll just say when the relationship is ended, and you start to have 30 days of absolutely no contact, no calling, no texting, no messaging on any social media like Facebook. You don't go and stalk his Facebook page. You don't go and check out his Instagram. You don't look for him at all. So that's what 30 days of no contact is. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've never really heard of that, but I think it makes sense. Sounds good.
Okay.
Gives you time, gives you space.
Right. Okay, so falling in love and ending a relationship are two drastically different situations with polar opposite emotions. One is happy and one is sad, right? But both of them can be detrimental to focus and productivity. And as we talk tonight, coming up with ideas to handle both situations is helpful to planning ahead and staying productive. So some of the support things that you would like to suggest to the callers, Tawanda, what are some ideas that you would suggest to listeners for those who are falling in love and it's affecting their performance, and those who are falling out of love and it's affecting their performance?
Man, that is another great freaking question. And I think you said me. What I would say is, number one, pace yourself. You have to take your time, so please pace yourself. Number two, I would say get in your think tank. A lot of times we don't give ourselves enough time to really think and kind of like rationalize and think about the whole situation, et cetera, et cetera. Number three, get positive people around you if you feel like that can be needed. It's always great to just not do it by yourself. If you have people who you can trust and depend on, that's reasonable and smart and all that good stuff. And also, I would actually say find some fillers. Find some fillers of different things to do. Don't just sit around and pout and just eat ice cream every day. Eat ice cream only one day and go to the gym the next day. Go out to something social the day after that. You know what I'm saying? Just we're going to pout a little bit. We're going to go through it, but let's kind of mix it all up so it won't be I'm eating a pound of ice cream and I gained 100 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So